Hi YouTube, it's me Tiff Wilderness. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the end of month bot haul for December of 2022. Yes, this is my final video of 2022. Got a bunch of bots on the table next to me that I've picked out throughout the month, and yeah, so quite a good haul this month. A varied selection of items from different lines and places, and yeah, so without further ado, let's get cracking, shall we? So these haul videos where I show you what I've got throughout the course of the month. I'll show you each of the bots in chronological order of purchase or arrival, and I'll say a few words about them. Sometimes I go a little bit off topic and start talking about something else, and these videos tend to run out for 45 minutes to an hour easy. So I will have chapter marks in this video. So I will split the video up into chapter marks for each of the individual items. So if you've got the attention span of a goldfish, you can flick through if there's any particular bot or figure that you want to look at, and there will be a list in the description of everything I've got. So let's get cracking, shall we? So like I said, I do a bunch of orders at the beginning of the month usually, and yeah, I place the orders at the beginning of the month, and the stuff comes out throughout the course of the month, and yeah, I do my haul videos. So anyway, so the first thing to arrive on December the 2nd was a Kapow order that I saw. It was a figure I noticed that was in stock on Kapow, so I went on to Kapow on December the 1st and placed an order down, and fortunately it arrived the following day. Have done an unboxing video on it. Iron Factory IFEX 58 Hometown Watcher there, little legend scale Huffer. Now, Huffer is one of my favourite characters for what I would call character mold set collecting, where I buy all the characters that are based on that character, be they official or third party. I do have a few rules. I don't count, repaints. A Huffer mold when it gets repainted into a different character. I don't count construction toy bots or kit bots, and also I don't count non-transforming figures. They've got to transform. They've got to be official or third party. And Huffer's my most popular character, and obviously I've got all the Huffer molds, and this is the latest one to come out. He's a neat little figure. Iron Factory do some interesting stuff. I mean, they've got their own sort of way of doing things, their own sort of aesthetic style. They've sort of diverged a little bit recently with that sort of samurai or shogun line subline that they've been doing, but their normal figures are pretty neat. Leaders in the the Legends market for many years, even though New Age and Magic Square have sort of come along and stolen their thunder a little bit with their G1 legend scale offerings, but yeah, they've got their own aesthetic style, and yeah, I decided to get this guy. He's a really neat little figure, slightly intricate, fiddly transformation because of the size of it, but he's a decent little figure. This big silver bumper he's got over the top of his head, because obviously Huffer's got the hood, which is a sort of an intrinsic part of Huffer's design. Instead, he's got this big silver bumper thing over his head, which I wish they'd turn that into more of a hood. It does it hinge backwards and forwards a little bit? I think it does. Anyway, never mind. Yeah, so got him from Kapow. Decent little figure, and I'm now up to date with all the Huffer molds again. So yeah, so that was Iron Factory IFEX 58 Hometown Watcher there. Third party Legends Huffer from Iron Factory. Then on the 5th, well, I had a package that arrived a few days earlier. Well, actually, it was given to me by my sister, because my sister and her boyfriend came up to visit the weekend before, because it was just before, a couple of days before my birthday, and my sister gave me a gift for my birthday, and I didn't open it until the birthday itself. And when I opened it, I had a huge surprise, because in it was this thing. Knockoff KO Transformers Lego Optimus Prime. So yeah, she bought me a KO version. This isn't the official one. It is a KO. I mean, you got to look at the all the studs haven't got the Lego branding on it. In fact, the box when it came in, the box was all scrunched up at the top where they'd shipped it, and there was no branding on the packaging whatsoever. The instructions has only got the instructions has only got you know, an Autobot symbol on one side and the you know, the Transformers logo on the other. There's no other branding, no Lego, no Hasbro branding, nothing on it, and yeah, so I built it. Now, I didn't want to get this thing originally because, one, it's a vanilla Optimus Prime, and I'm not a huge fan of vanilla Optimus Prime. Two, the expense of this thing. I mean, the official one retails for what, 160, 170 quid. Admittedly, it has come down in price a bit, but it's still like really expensive. And I just wasn't willing to buy it, but my sister got me this version. Now, building this was an absolute bastard. I know building Lego can be said to be very calming and therapeutic, but this one was anything but. The main reason being, I mean, even though the instructions are basically the same as the original Lego instructions, and the assembly, you know, steps are exactly the same, because the instructions were just basically cut and pasted from the original instructions. The only drawback with this set, and the biggest drawback of it, by all means, is the bagging system. Now, as I understand, the original Lego Optimus Prime comes with all the parts in 11 labelled or numbered bags. And when you're building it, the instructions tell you which bag to get the various parts from. This set had 26 bags with little to no labelling on them. And the instructions had no references to where the parts, which bags the parts came from. So I had all these parts scattered around on my mum's bed, you know, with some of them emptied out into like pudding bowls and some of them in little piles. And you know, it'd be asking you to look for a certain part, and you'd have to go scurrying through dozens of piles of parts to try and find one little tiny piece. And it took bloody forever, and it was really frustrating and annoying to do this thing because of that reason. And the build time, overall build time, was 7 hours and 48 minutes because I timed myself doing it. That was like a stop and start. You know, I sort of made a list of the build time on it. And the other thing, because this is a KO, you know, you'd expect the quality of it to be not as good as official Lego, because official Lego, we all know it's like Lego pieces. They have, you know, like an excellent frictional fit where they plug together and they hold really well. They have like the Lego branding on all the studs. This hasn't got that, but I was quite impressed with the plastic quality and the frictional fit on the parts for the most part when I was building it. However, once I got it into its robot mode, when I'm trying to transform it, bits keep falling off. And if you try to pick it up with the torso, the legs will fall off, because the pin that holds the leg, you know, the torso onto the the waist is not very strong, and there's a hell of a weight in this thing. It's got God knows how many over 1,000 pieces in it. But yeah, my sister got it for me for my birthday, and a big surprise. I've built it. It's all right. It's a great thing. Obviously, it's the KO one. It's not an official one, but still interesting enough. And a bit of a pain building it because of the bagging system, but anyway, managed to get that on the 5th. And yeah, so thanks very much to my sister for the birthday presents. It was a huge surprise, and I wasn't expecting her to get me something like that, but she did, and yeah, it was all right. It was good, and yeah. So moving on. So next, right. So that was on the 5th. Then on the 9th, Hasbro Pulse pre-order arrived. I think I've done an unboxing on it. Transformers, G.I.Joe crossover, Bumblebee, A.W.E Striker. Now, I got the HISS tank, the Megatron HISS tank, and it's on my worst bots list of this year. This one isn't much better, to be honest. The reason I got it is because of the alt mode, because it transforms into that sort of toy, you know, like sort of what can you call it? That sort of scrunched up, sort of off-road buggy design that's based on a Chinoa fast attack vehicle, or the FAV. And that's the reason why I bought it, because I'm a huge fan of off-road buggies, and the alt mode looks really cool on this. The robot mode, however, it's got a number of issues. Similar sort of problem with the Hiss Tank Megatron. Whoever designed this, obviously not an experienced Transformers designer. I think it was a G.I.Joe designer. There's lots of really unusual design choices they've made on this. There's a lot of like double hinged pieces that fold around. Things don't plug in particularly well. The chest doesn't plug into the waist very well. The roll cage, this is probably one of the biggest problems. It just hangs out the back there. It just doesn't do anything. I mean, you'd have thought they'd have had it so the roll cage folded up and collapsed onto the back, but it doesn't. And that's one of the biggest things. Also, the bulk of the wheels on the sides of the legs, they could have folded into the back of the legs or something. It's all right. It's okay, but it's not much better than the Hiss Tank, to be honest. And I bought it for the alt mode largely, and that's the mode I'll probably keep it in, if at all. Not that impressed with it otherwise. Came with a little figure, but he's still in the packaging. He's still in the plastic bubble in the packaging. This thing, again, disappointment. Really disappointed in it. I mean, look. That leg goes out, but this one doesn't. I think it's because the thing. And then all this all comes unplugged. It don't know where to hold it, and things just, it looks great. I get what they were trying to do with it, but it just doesn't really work as a toy. As a transforming toy, it just doesn't really work. And it's the same with the Hiss Tank. I mean, this one is, like I said, I prefer this one slightly more than the Hiss Tank because of the fact that it turns into an off-road buggy that I'm a fan of. But apart from that, the robot mode is not very good. And also, it's a lot cheaper than the Hiss Tank Megatron. Hiss Tank Megatron was like 90 quid. This one's about 55. So, but I know that they've announced another one, or there's another couple coming along. I don't know whether I'll be going in with them because we'll have to wait and see. But if these first two are anything to go by, then I'm not holding out much hope that the next ones will be any good. So that was that. And that arrived on the 9th. Then on the 13th, couple of comic orders, because obviously this year I decided I was going to buy back the Marvel G1 Transformers comics that I had as a kid. I've sort of given up with the modern comics because the IDW comic run came to an end this year because they've lost the license. I got the Beast Wars comic up until that was, sort of hastily curtailed, and then after that, I'll wash in my hands of the IDW. I might get the part 2 of the Shattered Glass as a trade paperback when that comes out, but other than that, I'm done with modern comics. But I want to get back into the vintage comics that I used to collect as a kid, and at TF Nation, I got the opportunity to buy a bundle of comics off a seller on the Sunday afternoon from Bric-a-Bracs, because he had a bunch of the Marvel G1 comics. So I bought about 50 odd comics off him, and then that started a process where every month I'm going on eBay. I've got a list of all the issues that I want, all the issues that I've got, and I'm buying either individual comics or job lots of comics, and I'm slowly building up the collection of comics that I had as a kid, which was issue 1 to issue 199, which is the comic run that I had when I was a kid, or the comic run that I did when I was a kid. So I started collecting them in I think it was September, October 1984, and collected them through till I think it was was it January, February sort of 1991. But anyway, we're this month I didn't buy many comics. The last couple of months I've gone a bit mad with it, but this month I only bought a couple. So I placed an order on. It was one of those where the eBay seller they list a bunch of comics and they say pick your own comic, and they have a list of all the comics from let's say issue 50 to 100, and they have various versions, and you can put them into a basket. You can say, right, I'm going to have issue this and issue that, and you put them into your basket. The only problem is, because of the way eBay does its do these sort of things, when you do multiple orders off it bumps up the shipping. It charges you double for the shipping when you've ordered two or more items. So yeah, I did get a refund from the seller, to pay me back for some of the excess shipping that I had to pay. But I placed 2 orders for 4 comics, and they all arrived at the same time. But the first lot, issue 57 and issue 68, so they're 2 of the issues that I wanted. And they finished off the 50 series and the 60 series, because they were outstanding issues I had from those 2 comic series. And then I also got issue 156 and issue 163. So I managed to pick them up as well. Again, they filled some gaps that I had in my my comic listings. So managed to get those. And they're all the comics that I got this month. Just those 4. It's a process that's ongoing. Moving into next year, obviously, I'm going to carry on buying them as and when they pop up on eBay at selected prices. Getting the early issues is going to be really difficult. I mean, I've got issue 1, 4, 5, and 6, and then the next issue I've got, I think, is issue 33. And then, so anything in between, I've got to get them early issues, and they're going to be really tricky and expensive to get hold of. But that's something to look forward to in the new year. But that's my comic buying done for 2022. Just got them 4 issues, and they arrived on the 13th. So moving on to the next couple of items on the 21st. Now, I did place a couple of international orders this month. I ordered 2 Korean toys off eBay from different sellers, and I ordered 1 figure off AliExpress. Now, I was a bit concerned about my international packages because this month especially, we've got the Winter of Discontent Mark 2 or 2.0 going on, because a lot of these service industries are going on strike because of pay deals, and that includes the Royal Mail and the Border Force. So I was a bit worried about international packages getting delayed because of these reasons. Also, you're going into the Christmas rush. Everybody's ordering stuff ahead of Christmas, and the postage and the courier firms are getting jam packed with orders going through, and it was obviously going to be a struggle to get stuff. So I only placed those 3 orders. I had a bit of a problem with them. The Korean toys, they really dragged coming through the system, but my AliExpress package wasn't too bad actually. So AliExpress item arrived on the 21st. Which, you could say, considering I ordered it at the beginning of the month, it took 21 days to come from China, which, given the circumstances, was pretty good. But anyway, something that I'd seen on AliExpress, quite like the look of it, and given that I bought that Toy World Skyburst last month that turns into a battleship, kind of like ship or boat formers, and there's been quite a few been announced from various companies, third-party companies, and managed to get this thing. Now, when it arrived, it was in semi-disassembled. I had to put it together. I mean, these pieces weren't attached, that wasn't attached, and his head wasn't on, and I had to sort of build him up. Now, as for who made this, now I'd heard reports that it's made by a company called Shandong, but apparently that's not right. The instructions book has got that XinLeXin, XinLEXin. I'm saying XinLeXin, and it's the same company that made that Space Morphers, Space Combiner that I got earlier in the year. It's made by the same company. This is a much better figure. It's much bigger. It's much more solid. Turns into an aircraft carrier that's about yay long. A lot of die cast on it. Now I like to think, looking at these colours, this sort of like this dark red, the sort of like the tealish blue, the grey and the white. Don't you think it kind of looks like Broadside's colours? I like to think this, this is like a Broadside kind of, homage, because he's got the colours. It's not a triple changer. It only has one alt mode, and that's an aircraft carrier. It doesn't turn into a plane, but he's pretty good. He's very heavy, not particularly stable. He hasn't got much in the way of feet, and he's got a lot. These bow pieces of the ship mode are made out of die cast, and they're really heavy, and of course they're hanging off his shoulders, so he does tend to sort of lean backwards quite a bit. But it looks really cool. It's got a very simple transformation, and the only thing is, I just wish the ship mode had a little bit more paint or sticker detail on it, because his flight deck on his aircraft carrier is completely bare. There's no sort of like runway markings on it like you'd usually get on an aircraft carrier, which is a shame. And I'm kind of hoping Repro Labels is going to come to the rescue and do some decal sets for this, where they make the ship look more like a real aircraft carrier, and they do a decal sets which makes the robot look more like Broadside. So that's something for Repro Labels to get onto, I think. Maybe I have to send them an email and see if they can do something about that. But it's a decent figure. It's big. It's heavy. I mean, it is very big. I mean, I'm not picking up Lego Optimus Prime again, but he's about the same size as Lego Optimus Prime. But yeah, so I managed to get him off AliExpress. That's the XinLeXin. It's called Marine Morpher Aircraft Carrier. Anyway, so I got him on the 21st. Then also on the 21st, another thing that popped up this month on pre-order on Hasbro Pulse. Holiday Optimus Prime. Yeah, now I saw them announce this thing, and I was looking at it and thinking, actually that looks pretty good. The main reason why I decided to buy it was because, now I've said this in my well, no, let's carry on, shall we? The main reason why I went for this is because, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of vanilla Optimus Prime, right? I'm not a huge vanilla Optimus Prime fan, and like a standard, G1 Optimus Prime. Not a huge fan, but sometimes, because Optimus Prime is one of the most popular, if not the most popular character in the entire franchise, he gets lots and lots of molds made after him, and sometimes they'll go out there and make a brand new mold that's really, really cool and interesting, and this is just one of those. Got some really interesting colours going on with this, this holiday deco with the bright red and the white and the green. I mean, it's got the trailer, which is all done up like that. It's got like a mock snow effect on the top. It's completely white inside. There's lots of moulded detail, but none of it picked out in paint. It's also got like the hitch adapter, because obviously his truck mode is very, very detailed. Now, it's based on a real world truck. It's a Volvo VNR 300 day cab. Now, I've looked it up, and I used to work on trucks back in the day. I used to be a heavy goods vehicle, used to be an apprentice HGV fitter, and I worked at a couple of companies before in the late 80s, early 90s, before I got made redundant and our family moved from Rugby to Leamington. But I also, I used to work on Volvo trucks, and I got a liking for them, and also I've driven a few Volvo cars, so I've got a bit of Volvo bias going on here. I like Volvo vehicles, or the Volvo company as a whole, and yeah, this is based on a Volvo truck, and in truck mode it's super detailed, especially the back of the truck. I mean, you've got like the I mean, it's got all the, it's got like the hitch. It's got like the battery boxes and the fuel tank, and it's got like airbags for the rear suspension. It's got all those details, and the transformation on this thing is absolutely wild and crazy. The way the transformation works is awesome. I absolutely love it. It does have a few minor gripes. These bits hanging out the back, I wish they'd sort of a little bit more engineering so that the cab parts collapsed into the back of the legs. Also, this exhaust pipe is just sort of like, the smokestack is just hanging out on the side of his leg. And also, The feet aren't particularly good because they're just made up out of like boxes of parts that fold out, and when he's standing on a surface, he isn't actually standing on the flat of his foot. He's like standing on the edge of these feet, the boxes that form up his feet, and he's a little bit unsteady. He won't fall over, but he just sort of rattle and totter around when you put him down on a hard surface. And also his knees are a little bit weird. But apart from that, that's a minor gripe. I mean, the alt mode, the transformation is enough for me to absolutely love this thing to bits. I really love it. It's an awesome figure, and I never thought that I would buy an Optimus Prime toy and actually love it so much, because like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the character, but this one is the exception to the rule. I really love it. It's awesome, and managed to pick him up, or he arrived from Hasbro Pulse pre-order on the 21st. So then, moving on a couple of days, we got what I refer to as my pre-Christmas toy hunt. It's a little something that I like to do every year. It's kind of like it's like an annual tradition with me. A couple of days before Christmas, I like to go on a toy hunt around Coventry. I like to go to Smith's. I like to go to B&M, I like to go to Forbidden Planet, and I like to go to maybe Entertainer, and maybe hit up some supermarkets if I feel so inclined. And the idea behind it is that usually a couple of days before Christmas, the shops are bulging with the latest and greatest products, so people can stock up before the great day itself. And sometimes you might get some special offers on, getting pre-Christmas offers where people have drop the price a little bit to entice people to buy more. So these are the reasons why I like to go out on the pre-Christmas toy hunt, and this year is no exception. So I started off by heading up to Smith's, and went into my local Smith's, and I was looking at the stuff they had on the shelf, and to be honest, it was mostly Legacy Wave 2. Was there a few Wave 3? There was some Wave 3 stuff there. Studio Series was just Bumblebee movie stuff. It was just Bumblebee movie stuff. They didn't have that. The leader class Megatron, the Transmetal 2 Megatron was what I was actually looking for in Smiths. They didn't have any of those. But everything that was on the shelf was all stuff that I had already, and there was nothing new there that I didn't want, so I came out of there empty-handed. So then, this is at the Airfield Retail Park near off the A45 near Coventry and the Coventry Airport, and went round the corner and went to the local B&M store, and I went through B&M and I was looking round, and again, their toy aisles are quite large and stuff's all scattered around, and I was looking around, and eventually I found something. I thought, oh yeah, I've been after that. So B&M, I managed to get hold of this. Transformers Authentics Alpha Wheeljack. Now, there's some new Authentics figures that have been announced recently, most notably that Bravo RC, which people are trying to get. I haven't seen the Bravo RC on the shelf yet. I was looking for it. I was scouring the shelves nearby to see if they had any of the Bravo figures, but they didn't. They only had a selection of the Alpha figures. They had Shockwave, they had Optimus Prime, they had Soundwave. He's pretty good. I'm kind of tempted to pick him up at some point. Who else did they have? Shockwave. They had Optimus. I think they had Bumblebee as well. But it was this guy that I really wanted to get, because Alpha Wheeljack. He's pretty good. I mean, now the thing you got to remember about these Authentics figures is they're very cheaply made. They're very thin. They're very hollow. They're very lightweight, and they tend to have very basic, very crude articulation. But they're getting better, and the whole purpose of the Authentics line is that they're made down to a budget so that they could be sold at less affluent markets. Most notably the South American markets, like Mexico and Brazil and places like that. Were companies where the average household hasn't got as much disposable income to pay, to spend on toys to buy their kids. So they certainly can't afford to buy generation stuff, because it costs a fortune to import it, and then the price of it would be too much for them to afford. It'd be like a premium item. So they've come up with these cheaper versions, which are kind of interesting. And this one is one of the latest versions of the characters. He's quite big. Hang on. Yeah, so he's a full-on Voyager class figure, and yeah, I mean, actually thinking about it, this is the biggest Wheeljack mold I've ever seen. Has there been one any bigger than this? Because it's bigger than the Masterpiece. I mean, I've got Masterpiece exhaust up there somewhere on the shelf above me, but I can't see him. I can't get him down. But anyway, yeah, it's bigger than the Masterpiece, and bigger than a regular Deluxe. So he's quite a big. He's okay. He comes with a gun, which you can plug into the shoulder. Turns into the rally car, something that kind of looks like the Lancia Stratos rally car. I mean, he's quite hollow. You look round the back, he's got hollowness in his arms, hollowness in his legs, but he's decently posable. I mean, he's got ball jointed hips, got deep knee bends, he's got ball jointed feet that are on a joint that goes backwards and forwards, ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbow, heads on a rotation. Now, it hasn't got a waist joint, but if you unplug that, you can get a waist joint, but you have to unplug his chest because of the way he transforms. But he's really good, actually, and yeah, so I bought him. So it's the first time I've seen this figure on the shelf. It's a new release for the Authentics line, and he's in stock at your local B&M home stores. So if you want to get hold of one of these, get down to your local B&M. You might be able to find him in store. So I got that. So that was the first figure I picked up on this pre-Christmas toy hunt. I then drove into Coventry Town Centre and went to Forbidden Planet. And while I was there, I went into the what's it called? The West Orchards shopping centre in the Coventry City Centre. And as I was coming down the escalators from the car park, I noticed they've got another toy shop there called Toy Town. So I went into Toy Town and had a look round, and they had a few little Transformer items. And one of the things they had was those Cyberverse tiny turbo changer figures. Those little mini blind bag things. And they had Series 5. They had 2 boxes of Series 5. And I remember there was one particular character out of that set that I wanted to get, and it was Cyberverse Skybyte. So I sat there at the rack. I was just sorting through this bag, looking for the little stamps on the back that give you the letter depending on which one it is. And I thought I found one because it was letter I that I was looking for, and I thought I found one. And then I went to the counter at the front, and I saw there was another box there. So I decided to have a flick through them. But then there was a parent with a kid at the counter, and then the parent had got something to buy to the kid, and then said, "Oh, you're not getting this till Christmas," and put it back. And then the kid just threw a right old temper tantrum and went, started bawling and screaming and stamping its foot. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. I bet we see that all the time in a toy shop. But anyway, so I checked the blind bags at under the counter, and I thought I'd found one that was the figure that I wanted, and I was feeling the package to see if it was the one, because Skybyte is quite spiky, and it's not Optimus Prime, because he'd be like be a blocky character. But anyway, so I bought it. It was £2, and I went outside and opened it up, and sure enough, it was Skybyte. So I got lucky. I got the character that I wanted. Skybyte is another character I like to character mold set collect. I mean, I've got a bunch of them on the shelf up here. Yeah, got the Cyberverse, sort of one-step changer. Got the Cyberverse Spark Armor one. And yeah, so I decided to get him. These little mini sort of blind bag, sort of turbo changer things aren't really what I'd count as a character worth, collecting. But they're kind of neat. I mean, they hardly got any articulation. They do transform. No paint on them, hardly, but the moulding detail's pretty neat on them, and yeah, so yeah, it sort of transforms somewhat into something that resembles a shark. But yeah, I managed to get hold of him. I kind of wanted him. I do want the from the movie series. I want to get hold of like the mini turbo changer Scorn as well, but I can't remember. He's in one of the late movie series, which I haven't seen them on sale anywhere for a while. So anyway, so I got hold of him, and then I carried on out the Coventry Centre into the main streets of the Coventry City Centre, and I went to Forbidden Planet. Now, while I was in Forbidden Planet, I saw a few things. In fact, well, here's a picture of what I saw. Yeah, they had Legacy Evolution Wave 1 figures on the peg. Yeah, so they had a couple of the Deluxes and some of the core class figures. So I thought, oh wow, I'm in here. But it wasn't those guys that I was particularly looking for. I mean, I was looking through at what they had. And then I noticed that they had something else which I was looking for on this particular hunt that was quite expensive. So I decided to buy that. And then when I went searching through the other figures, I found another figure that I thought, wow, I've got to get that as well. So I didn't end up buying any of the Legacy Evolution Wave 1 figures because I had a very limited budget and I'd already spent some of that budget. And so what I did get was this guy. Yes, I got hold of my Legacy Leader Class Beast Wars Transmetal 2 Megatron, and this was a surprise. Legacy Deluxe Breakdown. Yeah, so I've got the last part of the Stunticon's Combiner. So yeah, Megatron. I was hoping to have found him in Smith's, but they didn't have any in Smith's, but they had one on the shelf in Forbidden Planet, so I picked him up. He's really good. Mine's got some minor tabbing issues, like he's got the neck piece when it tabs into the chest, and then you've got this piece on the back that's supposed to tab in on the back. When you tab that in, his neck comes untabbed. So when you tab the neck in, his back comes untabbed. So he's got these tabbing issues with these two pieces around his neck. So that's not quite so great. Also, the colours on this thing, they're kind of dark. On the illustrations on the box, it looks like he's in a much brighter, more vibrant shade of red, but he's kind of a darkish red, and I don't know how I feel about that. But he's okay. I mean, I like Dragonformers, so he's a really neat figure. Obviously, it shares some engineering with the Beast Megatron or the Predacon Megatron mold that we got in Kingdom line, but has been drastically engineered, and he's got these humongous wings that you can spread out. So yeah, he's all right. He's okay, but like I said, mine's got a few sort of minor sort of tabbing issues, and I'm not as impressed with it as I probably would have been otherwise. But he's still not bad, and I'm still glad I got him. And then Legacy Breakdown. Now, I was surprised to see this, and I was also surprised to see it in regular Legacy boxing, not Legacy Evolution boxing. Now, I know this guy's getting reissued for the Legacy Evolution line, but he's like what was it? The end of the Kingdom line, that Voyager blaster, because he came out the tail end of the Kingdom. In fact, he was the last Kingdom figure, but he also came up as a Voyager figure in the first wave of Legacy. So yeah, and I've been into Smith and seen both the Legacy and the Kingdom blaster on the shelf next to one another, and it's like the same figure from two different toy lines. It's weird. So I think there's a similar deal with this. I mean, I was searching through the Evolution Deluxes, and I found this guy, and I thought, oh, I've got to get him, because obviously, because you need him to complete your Menasor, you know, this guy's hot property with the old scalpers. And yeah, so I decided to get him. Yeah, so obviously you end up with that, and it's, for the most part, it's just a straight repaint of the Wild Rider mould, which is a shame. They have remoulded the back somewhat. I mean, I know I haven't got the spoiler parts to go on the back. I wish they'd have at least remoulded the front end to look more like a Lamborghini and gave it different wheels at least, instead of just giving it just a tertiary sort of remold on a few parts and then just painted it white and red. But what this has allowed me to do is to take this guy and hang on a minute. Is to take him and plug him in. And there we have my completed Menasor. My Legacy Menasor is now complete. So, yeah, managed to do that. Never thought I'd be able to do that, you know, the tail end of 2022, but I have. So I'm kind of pleased about that. It's not perfect. I mean, obviously, there's a few issues with this thing, but on the whole, it's not quite interesting. It's got some pretty cool engineering, and very, very heavy. And I mean, I've got the Combiner Wars one on the shelf up here, and it's better than that. Bit of parts forming going on, but apart from that, it's not bad. It's okay. I mean, it makes me wonder whether they're going to do another Legacy Combiner later on in the Legacy line. Just have to wait and see. But you know, I've managed to complete my Legacy Menasor, and he's all right. And I'm relatively pleased that I managed to get the last part for it, even if you know, breakdown is a bit of a disappointment because they didn't make more effort to make it look more like the G1 original. But anyway, so I managed to finish that off, and that was pretty much the end of my Coventry toy hunt. But then I came home, and well, actually, I went into Entertainer in Coventry Town Centre, but didn't see anything in there worth buying. So I came away with my purchases from you know, B&M, Toy Town, and Forbidden Planet, and then I came home, and then I thought, there's something else I can get here. So I had some money left over on my budget that I'd given myself to do my pre-Christmas Coventry toy hunt. And so I went uptown to my local Entertainer in the town centre, and of course I went in there, and there's a particular figure that they had in stock that I'd sort of been on the fence about getting, but then I got given these as part of my job. Every year my company gives me these love to shop shopping vouchers, which have they're like a prepaid shopping card with £30 on it, and you can redeem it in certain stores, and Entertainer is one of the stores you can redeem it in. Now this was last year's card, because you know it's got 2021 on it, and it was due to expire later on in 2023, so I needed to use it. I've got a new one. I've got another one of these that I got this year, so I had two of them, but so this was like 30 quid's worth of free money. So I went into Entertainer, and like I said, there was this figure that I'd seen that I wanted to buy, and I went and bought it. Studio Series Bumblebee movie Voyager class Soundwave. Now we know it transformed into something that's, you know, what the hell is it? It's some kind of flying vehicle. It doesn't look like anything at all. But the robot mode's pretty good, and I've got the Ravage, so the Ravage can go in there. But now they were asking £31.19 for this guy. But thanks to this, I only paid £1.19 for this figure. Did have a bit of problem getting the card reader to accept this card because it's been in my wallet for over a year, and I think the magnetic strip's a bit worn out on it, and they kept swiping it through, and it must have swiped it through about about a dozen times before it finally went through, and I got the money off buying this thing. Yeah. So yeah, I managed to get a Voyager figure for £1.19. So that was interesting. I mean, were it not for that, I probably wouldn't have bought this guy. But I've got him now, and I've messed with him, and he's all right. His robot mode is really good. It's got nice tight joints. It looks really cool. It's got the compatibility with the with the Ravage figure. It's pretty cool. Transforming it's weird, and what you end up with is bizarre. I kind of think it's like it's kind of like the Cybertron equivalent of a snow speeder from Empire Strikes Back. It's kind of like a skiff type thing. It's like a low, flat, sort of flying vehicle that like some people are saying it's a hovercraft, but it's like a skimmer or a skiff that that scoots along through through the skies of Cybertron. And I think that's what it's supposed to be, but it's neither here nor there. It's not a boombox. It's not a truck. What is it? But the actual figure itself is pretty decent, and he looks all right. And like I said, the only reason I bought this thing was because, thanks to this shopping voucher, I managed to get it for like less than £2, or less than £1.20. So, got him for a very, very cheap price. And he really was the last item I got on my pre-Christmas toy hunt. So, yeah, I had a decent haul for my pre-Christmas toy hunt. Could have done better, though, because you've got all that Legacy Evolution Wave 1 sat on the peg in Forbidden Planet. And that sort of bugged me that I hadn't had enough money to buy the rest of the figures that I wanted from that. But we'll move on to that in a bit. Anyway, so Christmas happened. Went down to my sister's, hung out with them, watched some films, ate some food, blah, 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 bloody, bloody, blah. Came back home. And then December 27th, it was the NEC Toy Fair. Now, normally I would stick that on there, but today I did buy an early bird ticket. I did go in there at 8 o'clock, and I did walk around the place until about 10:30 when I came back out. Didn't buy anything. I had just over £100 with me in my usual sort of amount, and didn't see anything worth buying. The only thing that was remotely interesting was one of the guys at the front of the hall had some of the Fans Project Lost Exo Realm Dinobots, and he had Severo, the Grimlock figure, but it was the one that came with the throne. And he was asking £150 for it, and I didn't quite have enough money. And I'm sort of in the market for a Fans Project Severo, but I don't want the one with the throne, and I don't want to pay over £100 for it. So, yeah, I didn't have enough money. I could have gone out to the cash machine and got some more money and bought it, but I just thought, nah, it's not really my thing. I mean, now, this year's December 27th NEC Toy Fair is probably going to be the last December 27th NEC Toy Fair, because got the Collector's Toy Fair guide for next year, and sadly, because of Barry Potter, the organizer of the NEC the NEC Toy Fairs, is having problems with the promoters at the NEC. And if you look, you can see they've only got 2 dates for next year, one in April and one in October. So there's only 2 NEC Toy Fairs scheduled for next year instead of the usual 4. So that's a bit disappointing. So there isn't one on December 27th. And I like to go to the NEC Toy Fair on December 27th. It's like, again, it's another tradition of mine, like my pre-Christmas toy hunt, going to the NEC Toy Fair on December 27th. It's like, it's like something I like to do. It's my last bot buying day of the year. But this year, like I said, bit of a disappointment. I mean, Sven was there from Greek Geekology, but he didn't have a lot of stuff on his stall. He only had sort of late wave Kingdom stuff and like Wave 1 to Legacy stuff. He didn't have any of the Legacy Wave 3 stuff, so what were they called? Space Bridge wasn't there. Neither was Toys R Us. He didn't have a stall there this time. Apparently he wasn't there. Brad, XLian, XLR, and I think, is it Ben Waspshot or Ben of... anyway, and Ben were supposed to be turning up, but they contacted me to say that they were going to try and hook up with me at the NEC Toy Fair, but unfortunately I came out before they came in. They were waiting in the queue. I mean, when I came out 10:30, I walked down the queue to see if anybody, if I could see anybody I knew in the queue, but couldn't see anybody. And then I decided, you know what? I've seen those Legacy Evolution figures on the peg at Forbidden Planet. I'm going to go back to Forbidden Planet. So I finished up at the NEC Toy Fair, came out of there 10:30 without buying anything, with a pocket full of cash. I jumped in my car, went to Coventry Town Centre, went into Forbidden Planet, and I got Legacy Hotshot, Legacy Evolution Hotshot, Legacy Evolution Scraphook, Legacy Evolution Sludge, and I got Studio Series Core Class Rumble Blue. So yeah, managed to pick up those guys. Like I said, I could have picked them up on my pre-Christmas toy hunt, but because I only had a little bit of money left and there was those other figures that I wanted to get, I bought those instead. But now I had a fresh lot of money, went in there and I cherry-picked the figures. They had they only had the Deluxes and the Core Class. They didn't have the Voyagers. So no Tarn, no what's the other one that's in the Voyager? It's Leo Convoy, isn't it? He wasn't there either. They had Needle Nose, but I'm not interested in him. So I only got the Deluxes that I really wanted. Hotshot, he's okay. He's all right. I've never played with the original Armada Hotshot. I know it's a bit of a brick. And I know there's the Universe one, which is after watching that Toy Guy's video review he did on it recently, where he showed what an absolute piece of shit that toy is, because it just basically explodes, because all the torso all opens out and all the pieces are on different hinges and it just doesn't peg together properly. So this is like third time lucky for this the Armada Hotshot mould. It's okay, it's all right. He's got the Minicon gimmick with the head cannon, but doesn't come with his Minicon. Now, I can see that Minicon Jolt, or the Universe Jolt, is now going to be hot property, and people are going to be snapping him up like crazy to go with this guy. Now, he does have a Minicon port on the back of his vehicle mode. It's just there behind his head. That's the only Minicon port he's got on him. It hasn't got any others. But yeah. So people will be scratching around now trying to get hold of a Jolt to go with this guy. He's okay. The transformation's all right. You end up with his very wide, flat car. And he's okay. He's all right. I ain't got a problem with him. He's a decent little figure. So I managed to get him. Then Junkion Scraphook. Now, he's one of these, what they call it, Evo Fusion figures. It's like it's the next wave of weaponizers or modulators or fossilizers, where they come apart and you can plug them together on other characters, or you can plug them together on each other to make bigger and more impressive figures. He's the first one of those. He's all right. He's okay. Very, very much sort of Mad Max style truck. He's got like an eye patch. He's got all the spikes and things and exhaust pipes and all sorts, and then the very sort of like rusty, earthy colours. He's pretty cool. He's all right. You can transform this guy without parts forming, though he does come apart, so you can plug him in, to ports on the sides and on the back of other figures in the line. So he's all right. He's okay. I quite like him. He's pretty good. It'd be interesting to see what they do with the rest of the Junkions that they're supposed to be doing in the Legacy Evolution series. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But managed to get hold of him. Then, Core Class Sludge. Now, they announced they're doing the Core Class Dinobots. And they're going to combine into Volcanicus. And there's going to be 6 of them. And poor old Sludgy here has been mauled by the Combiner gimmick. Big style. Because now you look at his robot mode and you look at his legs. And he looks like he's got these big old saddlebags on his legs. But they're not actually, you know, his legs. Because if you angle them out, you can see that his hips aren't where they're supposed to be. His hips are actually up here rather than here. So yeah, his legs are weird. And so his robot mode is heavily compromised by the Combiner gimmick. And I assume he's designed this way because I think he forms the trousers of the Combiner. And then you transform him into his robot, into his alt mode. And his alt mode, again, is also heavily compromised by the Combiner gimmick. He's got like a big old undercut on the back of his Dino mode. In fact, shall we go into it? And there's Sludge in his Dino mode. I mean, look, you've got this here, this big old undercut on his arse. And then on the front, his front legs are fixed. There's no articulation in his Dino mode whatsoever. He's just a brick. And I've got to feel sorry for him because he has been mauled by the Combiner gimmick. I mean, Grimlock in the Power of the Primes, Dino Combiner, he got mauled by the Combiner gimmick as well. His figure was like, got all the Combiner ports hanging off it everywhere. This guy is the same sort of deal. It's a shame. I feel sorry for Sludge because, you know, his toy's been comprehensively ruined by this Combiner gimmick. So yeah, it's a pity, but I'm gonna get the Core Class Dinobots. So he was there, I bought him, but you know, he's not very good. He's a load of rubbish because, you know, because he is the way that he is. It's a real shame, but he's really crap as a result. And then Studio Series 86 Rumble. This guy's neat. I mean, now, to me, Rumble will always be blue. This figure is Rumble brackets blue. There are people who will say that Rumble is red. This is an argument that's going to go on till the cows come home. But to me, I don't mind. I just like the blue one. Okay, I just like the blue one. He comes with his pile drivers. They don't actually do anything. They just plug into his hands. But you know, he's got pile drivers. Very small. This guy. He's tiny. He's really small, especially when you go into. But then again, his cassette mode's got to be compatible with you know, Siege Soundwave or Netflix Soundwave. It'll probably fit in this thing, but he'll be rattling around in there because it's a different, you know, size or scale class. Yeah, he's all right. Neat little transformation. Looks pretty cool. Very pastely shady blue. But well, more of a purple actually, but yeah, got him. His arms, you know, he hasn't got any elbows, but I suppose given how small he is, that's no surprise. So he's all right. He's pretty cool. I was looking forward to getting him. They had him in Forbidden Planet, so yeah, I decided to get him, so yeah, got him, and that was a substitute for my end of month. Well, that was a substitute for my you know, sort of my NEC Toy Fair was going back into Coventry Town Centre, going to Forbidden Planet and filling me boots with Evolution figures. So I thought that was it. I thought that was the end of my bot buying for the year, and sadly it wasn't, because when I got home I went on to Amazon and I tried to buy Core Class Bombburst. Now they had him up on there, and they dropped his price down to £13.99, which was how much I paid for these core classes. And I thought, yeah, I'll get it. They said they had one left in stock, but when I was plugging away on it and tried to buy it, it said, oh, there's some sort of problem and you can't buy it and blah blah blah, and then it quit out and then it disappeared off the site, and it's like, oh dear. So anyway, the following day I decided, you know, I looked again and it was back up on the site, but at £18.86, and I thought, sod it, I caved and I bought it. And then it was like, when's this thing going to arrive? So that they had it in stock at Amazon, and they said, I ordered it on the 28th, and they said, oh, it's going to arrive by the 30th or the 31st. Now, obviously, I'm filming this video on the 31st, so what happened? Anyway, another figure arrived on the 28th. First of my Korean figures. Tobot V Mini Big Boss. I've done a review on it, which you saw yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Did a little review on this guy. He's all right. I've got the bigger one. He's like a scaled down version of the big figure. He's got reasonably good paint. When his hips don't fall off or pop off when you're moving his legs like the other Tobot minifigures. So he's all right. He's okay. He's half decent. And then it was a case of waiting for this Amazon order to arrive. And then earlier today, literally an hour before I sat down to start recording this, Legacy Bomb Burst. So yeah, I bought him. Like I said, I paid nearly 20 quid for this off Amazon. I caved. I really wanted it. I know this thing's hot property at the moment. Everybody's falling over themselves to get hold of this guy. He's all sold out at all the regular retails at the normal retail price. The only options you've got left are buying it online off, you know, eBay and the like for scalper money. I got mine off Amazon for more than the regular retail price. I mean, I paid nearly 20 quid for this. He's okay. He's all right. He transforms. Bit of parts for him, but apart from that, he looks really neat. I really liked Iguanus. He's really cool. And Bomb Burst, same again. And this is the last figure that I bought this year. I do have a Korean toy that's, you know, outstanding, that's supposed to have got delivered, but it's still got a delivery window of the first week in January, so it'll come when it comes. But that's that. Yeah. So what can we say about this? Decent haul, as you've seen. It's alright, I'm just trying to transform something back. There we go. Right, so yeah, reasonable haul this month. Quite a varied selection of items. I mean, Lego Optimus Prime, you know, Legacy Leader Class Transmetal 2 Megatron, and then you got Authentics, Wheeljack, Evolution Wave 1 Deluxes, you know, quite a selection of stuff. Weird month. Not everything's coming that I ordered, which is a shame. Got a few comics, went to the NEC Toy Fair, didn't buy anything, but then I went back to Forbidden Planet, and yeah, interesting month. So it's the last video of the year, the last end of month bot haul, and the last first and worst. So now, if you've seen my first and worst bots of the year videos, which I put up a couple of days ago, then you'll know what's coming. But if you haven't watched those, then you're going to see them for the first time here. A bit of a hard one this month. I had a couple of candidates for the worst bot. And first bot, there was nothing that really stood out as being really good or great, in my opinion, until the last couple of days when I started playing with some of the other figures that I hadn't played with, and then one guy just really shone, and it's like, yeah, he's the one. So here we go, the last time this year, first and worst. Right, yeah, Holiday Optimus Prime. Like I said, the alt mode, the transformation just did it for me. the transformation's so crazy and wild on this thing. I love the way it transforms. It's really awesome. The colours are really nice. The alt mode is awesome. He's the best bot that I got this month by far. And then core class Sludge. Evolution core class Sludge as the worst bot. Like I said, I don't hate him. I just hate what the combiner gimmick has done to him. He's been comprehensively ruined by the combiner gimmick. Be interesting to see what these other core class Dinobots are like. I think they're going to be a bit more straightforward than this guy. But again, because of these stupid, you know, sort of legs, he's really not that great. And I feel sorry for him, but, you know, he's easily the worst thing that I got this month by far. And that is that. So this video's gone over an hour. A little bit too much chat, I'm afraid, but what can you do? Hopefully I'll be able to edit it down a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. So that's it. That's been me, TFI Wellness for 2022. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. This year's done. I'll see you next year. I'll see you in 2023. So with that said, I'll bid you all adieu. Goodbye.